be influenced and inspired. Since Haridasa Thakura, with his Muslim background, had practical knowledge of that culture, it is significant that Mahaprabhu is approaching as an experienced person who simultaneously had deep attachment to holy name. Scholars often identify the word Yavana with Ionia or Greece. See Monier Williams dictionary. The term has also shifted in meaning over time. In the following quote from Srila Prabhupada, he refers to a prediction that Yavanas would conquer India. And it was true that Alexander conquered India or part of it, the Punjab, is the 3rd century BCE. Later, of course, the Turks are actually Turco-Mongols who were steeped in the Persian language and culture, conquered India in 15th century. In ancient and medieval times, the boundaries of countries shifted as empires rose and fell. Suffice it to say that the term Yavana has generally meant Westerners, and more specifically further west than Iran. Thus, one could argue that Yavana refers to a Western race or place. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4, verse 18, Purport Srila Prabhupada writes, Yavana was the name of the one of the sons of Maharaja Yayati, who was given the part of the world known as Turkey to rule. Therefore, Turks are Yavanas due to being descendants of Maharaj Yavana. The Yavanas were therefore Kshatriyas, and later on, by giving a Brahmanical culture, they become Melcha Yavanas. Description of the Yavanas are in the Mahabharata Adi Parva 85:34. Another prize called Turavasu was also known as the Yavana, and his country was conquered by Sahadeva, one of the Pandavas. The Western Yavana joined with Duryodhana in the battle of Kurukshetra under the pressure of Karna. It is also foretold that these Yavanas also would conquer India, and it proved to be true. An entire book has been composed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura on the exchanges of Haridasa Thakura and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Sri Harinama Chintamani. This book details the science of chanting the holy names in wonderful detail. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura writes in the introduction to the book, inspired by certain Vaishnavas, we compiled the teachings of Haridasa Thakura into the present book form. We received several other books about Srila Haridasa. Unfortunately, many of them contain unauthorized and scripturally fallacious statement and had to be rejected. One of them, however, appeared to have written by elevated Vaishnava. It explained the esoteric mellow of chanting the holy name, reading it, give us considerable joy. We could summarize that Srila Haridas Thakura must have instructed a saintly Vaishnava on the philosophy of the holy name. That Vaishnava in turn penned these valuable teachings in a book dedicated to his initiating spiritual master. We extended our heartfelt gratitude to the sender of the book from Sri Hata. The Harinava Chintamani has recorded these precious edits glorifying the holy name. This book, therefore, is being published for pleasure of the devotees surrendered to the Lord and his transcendental name. We firmly believe that only those who have taken shelter of the holy name will read the book, others will not. Therefore, we do not expect any arguments or challenges about the holy name from them. Readers who are serious about chanting the holy name are recommended to study this book carefully. See, Chaitanya Chaitamrita Anchalila 391 and 92. This is the characteristics of a supreme personality of Godhead. Although he wants to cover his opulence, he cannot do so before his devotees. This is well known everywhere. Oh my Lord, everything within material world is limited by time, space, and thought. Your characteristics, however, being unequaled and unsurpassed, are always transcendental to such limitation. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy, but nevertheless, your unallied devotees are always able to see you under all circumstances. CC Adri 1048. There was no end to the transcendental qualities of Haridasa Thakura. Here I mentioned but a fraction of his qualities. He was so exalted that Advaita Goswami, when performing the Shraddha ceremony of his father, offered him and offered him the first plate. Feeding you is equal to feeding 10 million Brahmanas. Therefore, accept the Shraddha Patra. Thus, Advaita made him eat. Srila Prabhupada comments, Shraddha Patra or plate offered to the forefather is then offered to the best of the Brahmanas in society. Instead of offering the Shraddha Patra to any other Brahmana, Advacharya offered it to the Haridasa Thakura, considered him greater than any of the foremost Brahmanas. The loving exchanges between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur are on a very intimate level. A very elevated devotee may sometimes argue with or disagree with the Lord. The gopis even use it to chastise and challenge the Lord. It was possible for Haridasa to see deeply into the intention of Lord and to know when to disagree in a manner which is augmented the Lord's pleasure. As sadhakas, neophyte devotees, we are obligated to attempt to become an expert in serving the Lord's desires as explicitly expressed by the spiritual master and Krishna, not to think we can leapfrog into the internal leela of the Lord. First, there must be a complete purity, and then there can be intimate dealings. The Bengali and Sanskrit word for airship is Vimana. For thousands of years, the Indian traditions have understood that some beings could fly. Thus, the recent aeronautical accomplishment of the last 100 years are not really so extraordinary. Ordinary people and even many devotees are cremated. However, Srila Haridasa Thakur was placed in Samadhi, which is reserved for those great souls who have given up attachment to the world and whose bodies have become pure by complete absorption in the service of the Lord. In this case, there was not much cause of lamentation, at least not for Haridasa Thakura. He had lived a long life, he had served the Lord wonderfully. He had left his body gloriously in the way in which he desired. Those left behind would be bereft of his association. However, as Vaishnavas, they were happy that Haridasa had finished his service in Kali Yuga, where he had been subjected so much abuse. He could now return to serve the Lord in a pure environment of the spiritual world. Krishna mantra haite habe samsara mochana, Krishna nama haite pabe Krishnera charana. In the age of Kali, there is no religious principle other than the chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all Vedic hymns. This is the purport of all scriptures. So these are the end notes, references were given, during the chapter as we see wonderful pastime or exchanges between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Haridasa Thakura in this chapter and in this book. And I think Prabhupada, gave a brief description of how Yavana names came and Turkish and at the end it says like Yavana is generally meant for Westerners. I think they're also who eats the meat and here always mentioned Yavana came from the dynasty of Maharaj Yati. And you see, it's been mentioned many times, how Haridas Thakur is a pure devotee. He has been considered the highest Vaishnava, highest Brahmana, and even Haridas, even Advaita Acharya also, giving him utmost respect to Namacharya and even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing it so.